I'm Patrik Baboumian. I'm a vegan strength athlete. I'm vegan for more than 6 years now. I've been vegetarian 6 years before that, and I'm training for it's actually 25 years now.
Yes, and I interviewed you in November 2016 in Stockholm.
Yeah.
Then we talked about your history. But since then you have met a Swedish TV profile called Henrik Schyffert.
Yeah.
He came to you in Berlin.
Yeah. Henrik visited me in Berlin. And he was making this TV series that was about his own vegan journey. So he was trying veganism and then see if it works for him, and he basically wanted to look behind the curtain of the animal industry. That was what I was told. And then he came and visited me, and he had a lot of questions because when he came to visit me, it was pretty early in his vegan journey. So I think it was just a few weeks after he switched, so he didn't have any idea how to get protein on a vegan diet and how to have a proper nutrition and everything. So I tried to give him some information on that, and then he also had he actually had a lot of questions. Some of them were about nutrition, and then other ones were a little bit more silly. But we talked about everything.
What kind of silly questions did he have?
Yeah, well, some of it was just basically about some cultural stuff like, well, is it unmanly to be vegan and stuff like that. And I tried to put that into a more, into the perspective of the philosophical approach that I have myself. And that is that I am vegan because I want to take responsibility for the effect of what I do and the effect that it has on the world. And taking responsibility is probably the most manly thing that you can do. So going vegan for that reason is pretty manly. So.
And how did he react to that?
I think he actually got the idea. When you watch, the thing is in the series as it was published, so you can actually watch it. When I give him the answer, I think he looked pretty. He was. I think he was thinking about it. So I think the point came across.
And like you, he likes to work out and build strength, but he felt on a vegan diet he was weak. And what's your explanation for that?
Yeah, well, that wasn't a surprise at all, because the problem was that his vegan diet was absolutely shitty. So he didn't know anything about it. So at least at the point where he visited me, he didn't know where to get vegan protein and how to build a nutrition plan and everything. So he basically, most of what he was eating was just bread and guacamole. And if you eat bread and guacamole all the time, you're not going to do well. So that wasn't a surprise at all. But that has nothing to do with veganism. It's just because his diet was shit. So we were talking about it, and I think if he did apply some of the stuff that I told him, it should have worked actually. But at the end of the day, it depends on if you're motivated to do it or not. If you're not motivated to do it, and if you're not dedicated to it, you're going to probably not do it properly, and then it's not going to work. So, but if you're someone who knows a little bit about nutrition and who has, you can put in some research beforehand to see what's good sources for vegan protein, like legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas, soy products, hemp protein. There are tons of protein sources. Peanuts are great. So there are tons of sources that you can use. But once you know that and you have a certain level of knowledge on nutrition, you're gonna do better than on a non-vegan nutrition. You just basically have to make sure that you give your body everything it needs. What's happening then is you're giving your body still all the nutrients that it needs, minus all the stressful things like cholesterol and all the problematic stuff that animal sources come with. So when you put that away, but you still have all the nutrients, of course your body is going to do better. But first you have to make sure that you are doing it properly, and if you don't do it properly, it's not going to work.
And what do you think about his choice in the end in the program?
Yeah, well, I only heard about that through other people who, most of them were Swedish people who saw it on TV. I were very disappointed that he didn't really keep his promise and that he didn't really go all the way through, but like just did it halfway or so. And yeah, I think that's disappointing, but at the same time I think the whole show and everything had a kind of a positive effect in terms of just getting some information out to the general public, especially to people who might normally not get that information. So a lot of his target group, he's pretty popular, so he's reaching a lot of people who might never even think about veganism, and through him they at least had these ideas and that information. So I think overall it was useful. Of course, it would have been great if you would have kept the promise.
Maybe if he stayed with it a bit longer, maybe he had gotten used to it, or what do you think, and found?
I still think he has time, because as much as I know, his son is at least vegetarian or even vegan. So, and his son was actually with him when he visited me. I lifted him with one arm, so I think it's never too late, you know. So he might be at the point in 1 year, he might be there in 2 years. Sometimes it just takes time for people. So I'm not giving up on him.
Great. Thank you very much, Patrik, for talking to us.
Thank you.